wants to tell us about a nice memory that you have, something funny, something warm, something, whatever. Okay? Don't feel intimidated, just share a story. Annie, I think you should share that.
I don't think so.
We'll just change the names.
To protect.
Because of course I had to figure out what Marilyn really meant. Whoa, okay. So, first of all, I will start off with Yvonne. She sent this, words that she would like to say. That's the older sister, in case you didn't know. I am Marilyn's elder sister, Yvonne. When Mom and Dad told me I was going to have a little brother or sister, I was quite excited. Then they said they're going to have 2 babies. And I was quite in shock for a few days, being only 8 years old. And all of you know that Glenn is with us in England, right? She's on FaceTime, so she gets to hear this too. The twins were in hospital for quite a long time, being born prematurely and weighing at just over 3 pounds each. Marilyn was longer than Glennis before she came home. She always was. Okay. She looked so fragile, this tiny pale girl laying in the pram next to Glennis. Marilyn was a sweet little girl, and when I started to go to work and would rush home as I needed to get ready to go out, she would say, "I'll wash up for you after dinner so you can get ready." She would then stand and watch me making up and was absolutely fascinated. She couldn't take her eyes off all the bits and pieces in my makeup bag, and I wondered whether that had set her off on her path to Mary Quant. Marilyn was a really lovely person when she was young. We never ever had an argument, which is quite unusual for sisters. They usually have a bit of a go at each other, I think. I was touched with Marilyn when she went to Canada. I guess that means I was in touch with Marilyn when she went to Canada in 1969 and up until her stroke in 2011 when we sadly lost touch. Her stroke at that time devastated all of us, including my dear Marilyn. How she fought for 13 long years, we'll never know except to say she must have been a very strong person. I love you very much, Marilyn, and I miss you, but I'm sure I'll see you one day and we'll be together again. All my love to you, Reese and Dave.
Oh, that's lovely. Beautiful.
I'm going to read Glenn's. Marilyn, my beautiful. Sorry? Okay, Marilyn. Yeah. Marilyn's twin sister from Glenn. Marilyn, my beautiful twin. Marilyn and I were born 2 hours apart on February 20th, 1948. Twin daughters to Ridwin Glynn and Hilda Roberts, as well as sisters to 8-year-old Yvonne. We shared the same sense of humor and when together could reduce to gibbering wrecks with laughter at some silly situation. We grew up in Stanmore, and apart from one class at senior school, we were in the same class throughout our school years. Aged 11 years, Marilyn won the fancy dress competition as Miss Kamei, wrapped in a towel and with a Miss Kamei soap wrapped around her wrist. Even then, she had model qualities. We went to ballet classes together, ballroom dances classes together, and even joined a stamp club together. Marilyn excelled at ballet and succeeded in passing her ballet exams with flying colors. We would dress up in our tutus and put on a show for the local children on the green next to our home. In the 60s, Marilyn and I loved to go dancing to the local club where we would dance to the live music, so prolific in the 60s, often missing the bus home, and together we would half run, half walk to ensure we were home by curfew time. Marilyn had a Saturday job in a local hairdresser's, and when she left school, she completed her hairdressing apprenticeship at a salon in Golders Green, a bus and train journey from our home in Stanmore. She then went on to travel the country as representative for the British fashion icon Mary Quant. It was in Scotland whilst working for Quant that she met dear David on a blind date. David moved from Scotland to Stanmore to be close to Marilyn, sharing weekends and Christmas with our family, and in August 1969, Marilyn immigrated to Vancouver to be with David. Marilyn and I always kept touch by phone and visiting each other, and I remember us screaming with laughter when Marilyn visited England with toddler Reese in 1975, and we both announced to each other that we were pregnant. We both gave birth to baby boys Paul and Damon in 1976, only 10 weeks apart. It was a joy to have Marilyn visit April 2011 to attend Paul's wedding to Lisa. Marilyn so enjoyed being with us and playing with our grandsons in their garden. Marilyn, I miss you so much, our weekly Wednesday chats, and think of you every day. You are now at peace and no longer in pain, that you bore with such courage and strength for 13 long years. Thank you, Patty, for being Marilyn's Canadian sister. I hesitate to think how we would have coped without you, for your patience, kindness, and above all, your love for Marilyn.
Yeah,
Rest in peace, my beautiful twin Mary.
Nice.
that's lovely.
Actually, I can add to that about how close Glenn did stay with her. She was here countless times. She would get a bed and breakfast nearest the hospital as possible so she could go every day. And she spent all day with her and fed her and tidied up the closets that I hadn't done, and did all kinds of things. And I mean, you know, she was quite a few times doing that. And then when she wasn't here, she was constantly sending things from home, pictures of the family. She'd put pictures on a pillow. I have one. Yeah, anything. We got pictures of the yin yang. Thank you, Glennis. It's wonderful. So we kept track of her kids too and her grandkids. And she has grand boys that are growing like bad weeds. What's Fancy over 6? Lucas. Yeah, like they're well over 6 feet. Like it's amazing. So yeah, from babies to shoot. But she never stopped being in touch. You know, sending wonderful little animals to cuddle and just thinking of her constantly. And Yvonne thought of her constantly as well, because you know we did do emails and texts and stuff like that. It's so hard to be 3,000 miles away, but Glenn is the bestest sister in the world, and their birthday was just the other day. And I thought, oh God, that's a hard one, her first birthday without her sister. It's going to be memorable, but you got through it, didn't you, Glenn? Glenn's still on Facebook with us. Anyway, so thank you, Glenn, for all the time that you spent and loving her so much, even when times were tough. You were there for her. Okay, now, who's got some funny stories? I know what. Tylene's been dying to tell her story. Why don't you start it off, honey? Okay? Good.
Well, a lot of it
Come
has
on over here.
a lot of it has to do with attitude.
Of course.
Even if Marilyn says to Patty, and I'm next door, of
Just
course,
wait
and
here, honey.
Patty was always busy, so I wound up cooking this and that. But Patty had a little dog, and Maltese, sweetheart. And Patty had booked a Alaska cruise back in the beginning of the summer, and sure enough, just before the Alaska cruise, the dog decided to wreck her knee, and she had a luxating patella, so had to have surgery. So surgery was the day that she left, of course, right? So Marilyn
You told me
comes
to
over.
do it that way.
What?
You told me to do it that way.
Oh, yeah, sure.
You did.
Anyway, so Marilyn comes over, because I gotta go. Marilyn comes over, she's gonna babysit Tessa. So I pick up Tessa from the vets. She's not a happy dog, okay? Not at all. So I get her in the car and I'm going, ooh, maybe I left something wrong. I didn't know where it's the dog. Oh my God, she just reeks from the anesthetic coming out of her pores, okay? So I get her to Patty's, and Marilyn, who's got a really bad cold, goes, I got a bad cold, but what's that smell? And I said, it's the dog. And I said, we got a bathroom. And she says, oh my gosh. So Tessa's got this big, huge collar, you know, the things that you have, vets give you. So we take it off because we can't get her in the bathroom and her banging against the bathtub and stuff. So we get her in there. So Marilyn's got the front end and I got the back. And I put the garbage bag over her leg and I kind of tie it. And I put some scotch tape here so that it wouldn't slide down. It's only a couple minutes in the tub. So I'm scrubbing her away, and of course Tessa, she's wiggling and everything. And I said, Marilyn, for God's sake, hang on to her. And she said, what are you complaining about? I got the bitey end. Right? And she's snapping at Marilyn, and Marilyn is trying to hang on to her because she's not a happy dog. So we finally finish, we rinse her off. Luckily, Patty has one of those shower things, you know, like this, so we rinse her off. So she's sopping wet. So we water all the way from the bathroom into the living room. Big towels. Marilyn sits down with her and she dries her off. Okay? So Marilyn said, well, we've got to put the collar back on. Okay, said I. So I go to put the collar back on. And Tessa, who loves me, she loves me, she bit me. Not not enough to draw blood, but close, right? So we didn't put the phone back. So she put her in her basket, and she never touched her leg. We didn't have to put the phone back on. She was a very unhappy dog, and Marilyn was not happy that I was going to work, because she had her all day, right? So finally, Patty comes back from her cruise, but the dog as well, okay? She's kind of like walking, and every once in a while she'll put her toe on it like that, but for the most part she's walking. And she said, Patty said, how did it go? And Marilyn said, oh, just fine, just fine. That's my story.
She walk the talk or talk the talk? Okay, Annie, want to tell your funny story?
Well, I don't know if it's funny.
Oh, it is, because you, because
It is. You'll never forget this.
no, change the name. Change the name to protect the innocent.
Oh, no, I won't. I find it hard to lie. Well, you know, on and off over the years, we went up to the north of Vancouver Island and left David and Marilyn and the boys behind, but we still saw them socially, and then Marilyn, unfortunately, had a stroke, but we still came to visit whenever we came down. So, even being an ex-nurse, I'm a very poor communicator when the other person doesn't, I found it hard anyway to communicate, so I'm throwing arms around and things, asking about old friends, you Dennis, Bob and Julie and all that, and you know, she showed those lovely photos that Glennis said, I love seeing them, and then I said, well, what about Julie and Bob, you know, have you seen them? This is very quick, and she said no. I said, oh, that's too bad, and I said, well, are they still in West Van? And she said, no. Well, what about Julie? I don't see Julie. No, she said, she died. I haven't heard it. Sorry Dennis, I howled with laughter. Marilyn had, she should have been a comedian.
But Annie just told me this story, and she thought Julie had died. I said, no, she was dead to her.
You know why I can't communicate? Because lovely to see you.
That's what makes it funny.
And your humor's like it, so I love that too. Sorry, it was a bit slow.
It's great.
Hey, do we have any funny ones from work?
Every day.
Richard, any memories of
I
dating?
don't have a lot of funny memories with them. But it's just, you know, as a junior stylist going in there at the shop, they've always been very generous to me, and you know, just Marilyn, I just remember the words they used to say, "You, this bunch of motley crew here." You know?
Yeah.
Motley crew, and you know, she was just an amazing, and I'm glad that I got to visit her. You know, at the hospital, and we told stories about, you know, we used to go to Seattle to for the scary shows and stuff. But just great memories. Very generous family. As you know, they passed that on to Reese and Damon, and I feel like they were kind of like they are family to me. And
Parents, yeah.
I'm very grateful to my career as well, being a hairstylist today because of them. So
Well,
that family members with just great memories about their generosity towards me.
Good for you.
Things. So I guess if you guys want to add something.
The parties, the Christmas parties. Tony and T was wedding.
Oh yes, yeah.
That was hilarious. We used to go somewhere every Christmas, and then we did our
Parties.
party where we all dressed up as the absolutely fabulous. It's an English TV show with Joanna Lumley and Simone.
Oh, through Marilyn, definitely.
Yeah.
Patsy.
Yeah. So we used to do absolutely fabulous parties, and we used to get together on a regular basis, the girls. Mythos, yes.
Yes, mythos.
Oh yes, yeah. Had to go and see Angelo. she was just an awesome person, and we do miss her.
And to meet those memories when we'd all be there for dinner and stuff.
Yes.
And she'd walk out the back door to go home and she'd pay the bill.
Yeah,
How many times did she do that?
she did that a lot of times.
Unbelievable. She
Yeah.
said she was going to the washroom because that's where the washrooms were. Right? And then when she wouldn't come back and she slipped out the back door, go home and pay the bill already. Yeah, American Express did it. Dennis, do you have something you'd like to say? Since Dennis is the one that introduced Marilyn and David, I only found that out today. I've known for 100 years, but I didn't know he introduced them.
Oh, that's very true, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling someone earlier that when I was living and working in Glasgow, Scotland, and David and I were together for about a year. And during that time, I was dating a girl who was a competition in one of the downtown cosmetics shops. And she called me to say that this girl had just come up from London, a very one competition, didn't know a soul in Glasgow. Could I, look after her, get together? And I said to David, we're going to look after this girl. So the four of us got together that night, went out for dinner, went for drinks, went dancing. And by the end of the evening, Marilyn and David had hit it off. And the following day, we went out again. Marilyn went back to London, and that was the beginning of their relationship together. That was in 1966. But Patty would remember, we always refer to Marilyn, David, as Ollie. Ollie the Owl. And how that came about was on that Saturday night, when we left the discotheque we were dancing in, we were trying to flag down a cab, a taxi, and I could never do the whistle thing with the fingers, but Marilyn came out with this incredible sound, and I went, choo like that. And the cab just pulled right over and stopped, And from that moment on, she became Ollie the Owl.
So I thought it would be a laugh.
So that was the start of that whole. I came out in 1967 to open a salon in Vancouver, and then David came out with Marilyn. Well, David came out, and Marilyn came out a year or so later. And you mentioned Bob and Julie. Bob came out, no, Julie then. It was Christine that first year, but anyway, and that was the start. So kept that connection going all these years, especially when David and Reese were little ones. Come right to our house in West Bend because we have two little ones at the same time. So yeah, we spent a lot of good times. So a lot of really lovely memories of Marilyn, Ollie. Yeah. So that was special.
Yeah. Excellent. Anybody else? Nobody? Glenn, do you have anything else you want to say, hon? Uh-oh, are you a basket case now?
Yeah.